What's up everybody, this is Jose from Southern Life. On today's video, it's been about a year since we moved to Fort Myers, Florida from Montgomery, Alabama. And we're going to give you guys a review of what it's been like to live in Fort Myers. Montgomery was not a welcoming place. On the other hand, in Fort Myers, nobody cares about what the next person is doing or who they are. It's a much more welcoming place. However, we have found that economically, this place will drain the life out of you. While relative safety here is a huge component to why we chose Fort Myers, we're able to live stream anywhere within the metropolitan area and not have to worry about our safety. As a YouTuber, it's good to live in a place where there's a lot of relative wealth because you can feel a little bit more normal. So we're going to tell you what it's been like to live in the Fort Myers area for about 1 year now. The benefits of living here and the huge disappointments as well. When I moved to Fort Myers, I tried to start a junk removal service. I had it in Alabama, it was very successful. I had it in Naples, it was also enough to live on there. However, while living here in Fort Myers, the phone just didn't ring enough. And after about 9 months of trying to make this junk removal business work, I decided to close my Google business account. Even the customers that did call were trying to bargain for a lower price. Power of acquisition in this metropolitan area is very low. It seems like everybody's trying to live a suburban lifestyle that they can't afford. I came here with over $100,000 from Alabama, and so far my net worth has diminished quite a bit. Purchases of unnecessary vehicles, travel expenses, and the cost of living has just taken a huge hit to our net worth. I didn't know anybody in Alabama. I had no relationships to that place, and I was able to, in 1 year, grow my net worth while living there. So it's interesting that despite the fact I have family and know so many people in the Fort Myers area, economically, it has not gone very well. So you're probably wondering, is leaving Fort Myers in our plans for the future? And the answer is probably yes. There's a few things that are going to hold us back from leaving. One of them is family, and two is that my wife Katie has been trying to learn how to be a realtor for the last year, and we hope that with our YouTube channel combined with her real estate license, we'll be able to be a little bit more successful here in Fort Myers. But in the meantime, we gotta scratch our head and wonder if we're gonna make it and if there'll be anything left by the time this is all over. Are we wasting our time and money by being in a place where life day to day is so difficult? Could moving somewhere more affordable give us better opportunities for our future than being here near the beaches, but stuck in an economical trap? Doesn't matter how much money we make, it's never enough. Are we holding ourselves back by being here? And is there a better future for us somewhere else? Will the fear of our last failure in moving to Alabama dictate that from now on we're going to be afraid to go somewhere else, knowing that there's economical promises there, but no social life at all like we have here? Lots of what ifs, but here's one of the biggest disappointments about Fort Myers. It seems that despite it being one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas in the country, there is still a lot that this area needs to be a decent livable place. A vast majority of homes are still on septic tanks and get water from a well. It means there's barely any infrastructure here. New homes that no salary in this metropolitan area can afford are being built on streets that are barely paved. And if it wasn't for this YouTube channel, I don't think I've gone to the beach once since I've lived here out of my own accord. While there are some Caribbean restaurants that I love and I'm familiar with, it doesn't seem like there's that many restaurants that are even worth going to. In fact, one of the biggest disappointments about Fort Myers has been the lack of restaurants here. When I lived in Naples, I was right in the heart of the metropolitan area, and I had access to a lot of restaurants and a lot of specialty places like bistros. Living here in Fort Myers, on the outskirts of the city, You have to drive clear through Fort Myers to get to any decent restaurants, and on most evenings, we don't want to be stuck in a traffic jam for 1 hour. We're in the Buckingham area. There's only a handful of restaurants within a 20-minute drive from our home. The closest commercial strip to us is Palm Beach Boulevard, and while on the weekends there's a lot of food trucks, during the weekdays, despite the fact that there's a huge amount of Latin restaurants, they're almost hole in the wall every single time. A bad smell when you walk into the building, not too many customers. This district is in really bad shape. Most of these small restaurants are really struggling, and a lot of them are changing hands, and the new owners cannot connect with their client base. It's an entire district that's going nowhere. To be honest, the Latino district on Palm Beach Boulevard is almost as depressing as the Latino district in Columbus, Georgia. The businesses are really struggling. Frankly, a lot of people in Fort Myers are afraid of this district. Personally, in the last year that I've been in Fort Myers, I've been there almost on a weekly basis, and I've never ran into a single problem. Personally, I'm aware that there's a lot of elements here, but it doesn't bother me, and I've never had a problem. But still, these restaurants and businesses are really struggling to attract customers to a neighborhood that has a bad reputation. Even the restaurants they are putting up in nicer areas like Lehigh Acres that's growing are still struggling. So here you have a place that's growing in the single family home construction. However, there's a lack of businesses, commercial, industrial, and all types of amenities you would expect in a metropolitan area this expensive and that so many people are moving to. Maybe living in Naples for 20 years spoiled me. And sometimes I even wonder if leaving Naples was the right decision. But I think back on how I was living in Naples, despite having a home paid off. It was in a bad neighborhood, and I was never going to go anywhere with my life, or at least now, it's definitely scarier, it's not guaranteed, but maybe that fear factor is what's motivating us to do more of our life, while in Naples we were just in a comfortable bubble that we were never going to get out of. Sometimes I wonder if a lot of the other people living in Lehigh Acres and Fort Myers are going through the same concerns and worries that I'm going through, and if they actually are making it or if they're just pretending to make it, trying to hold on to something that's almost impossible. Sometimes I wonder that the relative safety that we feel here is because life is so demanding that people just don't have time for anything else. Whatever the reason, people are going far out of their way and stretching their budget tremendously to try to make Southwest Florida work, when clearly it's a very difficult place to do it. And in my case, I feel that Southwest Florida is difficult and it's drowning me, and I came here with over $100,000. I can't imagine what the person who lives paycheck to paycheck down here feels like. So do we say, this is where we're from, this is where we belong, or do we keep trying to reach out for material things and make our life infinitely complicated like we did in the time we were in Alabama? Because despite the economical aspect being simple, the social aspect really made life there unbearable. So yes, we still dream about going to other places, perhaps Michigan where Katie is from. I just don't know if I can handle those brutal winters. We could definitely sell a few unnecessary things and get a little cabin in Michigan. I just don't know how that would work since I've never lived in a frigid environment. And frankly, being from South Florida, I might just die of depression more than the cold. Deep down, we still keep dreaming about this magical wooded country place we want to live, despite the fact that we lived a nightmare in Alabama. There could be a cold, wintry place out there waiting for us to discover and to slow life down, even if you have to wear a sweater in the summer. But maybe that's all an illusion, and reality is that we live in Florida and we gotta make this work no matter what. We had an opportunity to make something out of ourselves somewhere else. We spent our money on vehicles and a bunch of crap we didn't need, like traveling. We saw places that we fell in love with during our travels, like in Houston, Texas. And I will be honest, since we came back to Florida, we've done some of the most incredible travel anybody will ever do in their lifetime. I mean, yeah, we blew a great portion of our net worth, but we went to places like Houston, Colorado, New York City, 2 trips to Michigan, and all of that was still helping our YouTube channel grow if we really wanted to excuse spending that much money in travel. But a lot of the things that I used to do when I lived in Florida, like fishing almost every single day, I don't know if maybe I'm just not that young, adventurous person that I used to be back in the day. Maybe I'm just getting older, or maybe my life is more complicated now, but I don't enjoy the same outdoor activities and leisure time that I had when I lived in Naples, Florida. And I guess one of the biggest luxuries of being poor is not having to worry about your future. If you have enough gas money to go fishing, you just go and you do it. And now life has become so complicated for me that I don't think I have time to enjoy the things I really love, because I'm too busy chasing after the wind. So that is a summary of what it's been like to live in Fort Myers for about 1 year. Just the notion that slowly and surely we're sucking away all of our life earnings, gone chasing after a lifestyle that we probably can't even afford. A lifestyle we're not even enjoying since we're always worried about the future. When we left Southwest Florida, we were trying to flee from this monster and find a place that was not economically constricting us. And we found that. However, we failed to notice that the relative safety that we have here in Fort Myers, where people are just worried about enjoying their life by the beach, our peace of mind was stolen by people who had too much time on their hands. A lot of people warned me when I left Florida that Florida would find its way back into my life. But there's no more new vehicle purchases in our future. There's no more extravagant trips in our future as well. We're now stuck here living a normal, regular life. And while we still dream about going somewhere else and living a calmer lifestyle, the reality is we're stuck in Fort Myers and we'll have to make the best of it. With the cost of housing, I can't even imagine how much more infinitely complicated our lives would be if we were trying to reach towards buying or building a home. I wouldn't even want part of that. We're almost better off sticking to our little efficiency and just letting time pass, and we're either going to make the best of it economically and improve our lives, or we're just going to be even broker every single day. But the notion of going out there and buying a $400,000 house and not knowing how the crap I'm going to pay for it seems even dumber of a decision. New homes in the neighborhood where I live now are going for just under $500,000. And when I watch the lifestyles of the people who get themselves into these debts, I almost feel like I'm in a better position than they are. For one, I don't have to worry about maintaining an entire giant house. Second, I don't have to pay the mortgage on it. If living like that is the lifestyle I have to get myself into to have that house, I would almost rather stay in my tiny little 1-bedroom efficiency. And if I don't have money, at least I have time to enjoy the things I enjoy that don't cost too much. And it's traumatizing to be from a place like Naples, Florida, where you're so familiar with the lifestyle of the wealthy, yet it's not obtainable to you, or somebody in a poor place who's never been exposed to so much opulence and wealth may not even understand the comforts and lifestyles of those people who have money. And being from Naples, Florida, you almost feel like at some point you should reach that. And then there's the easy route, which is to sell everything you got and move into a trailer somewhere in Georgia or Tennessee and live a very simple lifestyle economically, but then encounter other nightmares. Now that I know what that nightmare is about, I'm not feeling the same way I felt when I left Naples, and certainly not feeling the same way I felt when I left Alabama. Yeah, there's some discontentment, and yeah, there's some uncomfortable situations, but I definitely don't feel that pressure to leave or that fear to leave like I did when I had my last 2 moves. So while no, it's not a perfect scenario, I don't see me desperate enough, angry enough, or fearful enough to have to leave Fort Myers right now. It genuinely takes a lot of frustration to get up and risk moving somewhere new to improve your lifestyle. And I'm just not feeling that right now in Fort Myers. I'm a little bit disgruntled at how long it's going to take to get to be where I want to be, and how difficult that process will be, and how many hiccups we're going to face along the way there. But I'm definitely not feeling that fearful moment like I lived in Alabama, or the frustration that I had living in Naples. It's a different level of emotion. This is a little stressful, but it's not fearful. It's not pressure that I have to do something to change my life. I just hope that in the process of being here in Fort Myers, I don't eat my own hands and end up with nothing to show. Alright guys, so you just got some of the realest conversation that I've spit into this microphone in the last year. I hope you guys enjoyed this opportunity to understand how I feel about living in Fort Myers.